there to record if you haven't started that already. Perfect. I see that going. Well, welcome everybody. I'm so excited to join you here today to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is vacationing on a budget, because it is exciting and wonderful to go on a vacation, but we definitely don't want to have those after effects where it's negatively impacting our financial situation. So, using a budget as we vacation and planning around our finances is a great way to get the best of both worlds. As Charlotte mentioned, my name is Lauren Simon from Green Path Financial Wellness. We are a nationwide nonprofit and we provide financial education and tools to help empower people to lead financially healthy lives. And we are thrilled to be partnering with Neighborhood Credit Union on this webinar series. We are here to support both members of the credit union as well as potential members. So if you have any questions, I will include contact information for us at the end of the session, and you're welcome to reach out for tips and tools. So as we're talking today, we are going to start off by going over some of the budgeting basics and looking at tips for reducing cost. We're also going to talk about travel pitfalls that people sometimes get themselves into. And we're going to talk a little bit about mastering the staycation because remember that vacation is really more of a state of mind. So this webinar is intended for those that are looking to plan a vacation or preparing for a future trip, and those who are looking for low to no cost options. So let's start with the most important part when we're planning to spend money, and that is budgeting. Like anything in life, there is only so much money that you can afford to spend. So if you like to vacation a lot, or if this will be a once in a lifetime trip, the budget is the first step that we need to take. So a vacation can be very expensive, but if you plan and budget and look for ways to make it affordable, whether you're going across the country or staying in your own backyard, you can still have a fantastic time. So we'll be discussing a variety of travel options and ways to save so that you can make the most of your vacation time. So by planning and having a plan and budget, it will also provide you with some peace of mind. You want to be sure that you're thinking of all the potential needs and contingencies in case something goes wrong. So for example, a close friend of mine and her family recently went to Florida for spring break. And while they were ready to fly home, there was a lot of bad weather. I know in the last year, a lot of people have been particularly affected by bad weather affecting their flights. So their flights were canceled twice and they didn't have the ability to rebook for days. So they were either going to have to spend more money on hotels and food or a car to drive home. Either option was going to cost more money, and they could have had a disaster if they didn't have a plan and a budget and backup in place. A budget will also help you and your family avoid buyer's remorse. I know that I've done it, and I'm sure that most people have, whether that's purchasing really expensive souvenirs or other items that you hadn't budgeted for. And then once you get home thinking, why did I spend the money on this? So now you have a really great dust catcher that you can put up on a shelf, but a lot less money. So we want to think about ways to help you avoid this as well. So I encourage you to really take our advice, spend some time up front to create your budget so that you'll have a less stressful, fun-filled vacation on your next trip. So to create a vacation budget, you first need a household budget, and this will help you determine how much you can set aside from your monthly income to put towards vacations. So Charlotte is going to be sending out an email after our session today, and that's going to include a budget template that we provide to help you determine what your vacation budget can be. If you are feeling overwhelmed by budgeting or you don't know where to start, you can definitely feel free to give GreenPath a call at no cost to you. The number to reach us is going to be 877-337-3399. And I'm going to go ahead and pop that into the chat so that you have it available. I'm also going to put it up later on in our presentation today, so you have that. Bear with me one moment here. There we go. So, step one in budgeting is really going to be having a plan to track your spending so that you can ensure that you're setting aside the money that you're planning to spend on your vacation. And then finally, once you are confident about your budget and you have it tracked to ensure that you can follow it, you want to determine your surplus. So, this is how much you should be setting aside in your vacation savings account. I also encourage you to include anyone that will be contributing and traveling in your budget. So, for example, perhaps you have maybe older kids in the household, maybe teens that want to get involved. So, you would want to include them in this part to some extent. You want to make sure that they understand that a vacation doesn't necessarily mean getting every single thing that you want. Help them understand that we're setting a budget and also provide them with opportunities to potentially increase that budget. Maybe there's some odd jobs that they could do in the neighborhood, like mowing lawns or washing cars, maybe babysitting some younger neighbors, so that maybe they can have a little bit of spending money during that vacation so that they can get some of those souvenirs and extra things that they might want. So now to make sure that you can stay on track, we're going to move on to step two of budgeting. And step two is to establish the savings account for the vacation. So you'll want to determine the best way for you in particular to save. For some people, this could be setting up a separate account at your financial institution that's dedicated to the vacation plan. So on the screen, I've got an example of the what the goal was to save and what was actually saved so that you can see that can allow for some adjustments within the plan. Now, step two is to set up a direct deposit to this account to help ensure that you'll follow through with your plan. So create that direct deposit for the amount that you can save within your budget into that new account. For many people, having that money out of sight and out of mind will help you to avoid the temptation to use it for something else. A lot of times we just kind of automatically adjust to the money that's available in our checking account or the main account that we operate out of. So if we can migrate some of that money away from that main account, we're much more likely to have success with saving it. Now that we're feeling confident about what we can afford, the next part is really the fun part. And this is going to be thinking about the destination. So we want to start thinking about the plan or the destination for the trip. Now, this can be something close within your own town or city, maybe even within the state or across the country. By determining your destination, you can start to determine the cost and, in turn, the amount of money that you're going to need to save for this vacation. Now, research is going to be key as you may need to pivot and make different plans if your budget doesn't support the vacation that you initially had in mind, or if you need more time to save for it. As you begin to research, determine the cost of each item you'll be spending money on and create an expense sheet for yourself. This way, you'll have your estimated spending and be able to keep an eye on what is being spent and adjust as necessary. This is also a great place to record reservation and flight numbers in an easy to access document. Now, the best way I find to research is to read posts by travel bloggers, maybe watch some YouTube videos, or even reels on social media, listen to podcasts. The TripAdvisor website is great. They have a forum where people can leave reviews. Talk with family and friends. Maybe someone's taken a great vacation that you're interested in exploring a little bit more, or even consider using a travel agent. AAA has travel agents, for example, that I've used in the past when I was going to a new destination, and that helped reduce stress significantly. There also, for people that are going to Disney, there are Disney particular travel agents as well that can really help you to plan out that vacation because that is something that has a lot of details involved that you might want to support. I also suggest that you research travel insurance as an option. Now, travel insurance may or may not be worth it for you. There are typically two types of trip insurance. So there's basic trip cancellation protection, which usually is going to cover things like lost bags or reimbursements if you miss a connection, and a refund if you can't travel because you're sick or hurt. A lot of this has expanded, especially during the pandemic. A lot of people have had to kind of last minute change their plans due to a positive test. So there may be some more availability for this. Now, comprehensive travel insurance typically will cover all of that, plus any expenses related to any medical or dental emergencies that may come up on the trip, disaster evacuations, and even costs associated with accidental deaths. So basically, this is a combo of travel and medical costs. Now, check with your credit cards that you may already have open before you buy this insurance. Many have some type of trip insurance built into the card as a benefit. You also want to make sure that you know your rights if you are flying, as many interruptions may be the responsibility of the airline. Many hotels also have free cancellation options when you book them, so be sure to research and understand that up front. Sometimes having a more flexible cancellation policy might be a good reason to choose one location or lodging over another. So make sure you know what that policy covers. Now, many insurances don't cover interruptions due to COVID, so be sure that you understand that ahead of time. Now, travel insurance can cost about 6% of the average trip cost, and this can really add up if you're trying to be budget friendly. So take that into consideration, potential concerns that you may have before booking trip insurance. Make sure that you compare and evaluate the different types of insurance to determine if it's worth it for you. Now, speaking of checking for benefits before opting into travel insurance, I have some other options available that can help you to reduce a variety of costs and perhaps make it more affordable if you do want to opt in for travel insurance. So, we're going to talk about another important part of planning to spend money on a vacation. So, you want to look for ways to find discounts and save money. Credit card promos can provide you with some amazing benefits if you use them wisely. So I would never advocate for you to use credit to finance a vacation. However, a credit card can be used as a tool to simplify the process, help you track your spending, and to take advantage of some savings. Be aware that many cards with travel benefits have an annual fee. Um, and so you want to make sure you research carefully the cost of the card versus the benefits that it's going to provide. There are also many financial institutions that offer reward credit cards that allow you to earn points or free perks as you utilize the credit card. And you can redeem that for free hotel stays, airplane tickets, or in some cases, cash back. So I know a lot of families like to take trips to Disney, as I mentioned, and this can get really expensive. So a lot of people I know have a card that builds up Disney points that they can use for things like hotel stays, food, or souvenirs at the Disney park. So for some people, this is a great way to spend money. But if you're someone that likes to travel to many different destinations, you might want to have a card that gives you a little bit more versatility. Now, the key thing to remember if you are using a credit card for some of these perks or rewards is that if you are carrying a balance on that card is going to be charging you interest. So usually the interest costs are going to far outweigh the rewards. If you want to take advantage of rewards on a credit card, the best way to do it is to only use it for what you can pay off when the bill comes and pay that balance in full. Most credit cards allow for what's called a grace period, meaning if you pay your balance in full by the statement due date, you aren't charged any interest. So this can be a smart way to utilize the card and earn the benefits, but not get yourself into debt for the purposes of credit card rewards. Another place to check for discounts and savings are to look at your employer. Many employers work with travel vendors that allow you to benefit from travel discounts, including things like airfare, lodging, car rentals, or air parking. And many can share and extend those benefits for your personal vacation. So check in with your team to see if this is an option at all for you. If you belong to a plan or plan to join a wholesale club like Costco, Sam's Club, or BJ's, you can review their websites to see if you can save on the trip that you plan. In the past, I've been able to find a large rental for my family with a kitchen, so I didn't have to reserve more than one hotel room. So not only did that save me money on the hotel rooms themselves, but we were able to purchase food at the supermarket, which allowed us to save a lot of money on dining out while we were there. I've also used Costco to book rental cars in the past. Sometimes I go through the Costco website, but on occasion I may book directly with the car company using a Costco discount code. You can find different discount codes through websites like Honey. You're not necessarily going to find that code all of the time, but it is something worth checking into and seeing if it's available before you book something. Now, it's always important to consider the time of year that you plan to travel. You're almost always going to pay more money to travel around the holidays, regardless of where you plan to travel. You may also want to consider if you can avoid things like spring break or trips during popular destinations during the summer months. I know for many people that have school age children, that can be a little bit more challenging because you want to take advantage of that time that they are out of school. But keep in mind that the busier times may cost more for hotels and airfare, and larger crowds may mean more waiting time to enjoy the tourist spots or time waiting to eat. And in all cases, time really is money, right? So, something to consider if you have some flexibility with your schedule. And finally, look for some airfare discounts. I know that for me personally, scheduling airfare can be really overwhelming. I'm always wondering, when should I book? Am I going to lose a good deal if I book too early or if I wait too late? So per cheapair.com, we found that the best time to book a domestic flight falls within a window between 1 and 4 months between the flight. And the best time is approximately 47 days in advance. I know that's kind of a particular number, but that gives you a ballpark figure. So roughly about a month and a half. Also, you want to consider the time of week when you plan to fly. If you do have some flexibility with your schedule, leaving on a Tuesday or Wednesday can typically provide a cheaper rate and avoid booking airfare around the holidays, as we talked about. Additionally, make sure that you understand and know that airfare's cancellation policy in case you do have any changes in your vacation plans. I would also look at all airlines that fly from the airport nearest to you or the closest international airport. A short car ride potentially could save you a lot of money to leave from an airport a little bit further away from where you live. And you may also want to consider budget carriers as a way to save money. Personally, I always compare prices on multiple options before I book, and the budget carriers may have a really cheap flight. But one thing to consider is that when you add on the cost of choosing a seat and baggage, the price may not be cheaper at all. So consider if seat assignments matter to you. And if they don't, try to avoid paying for them. If you don't choose them, be aware that in most cases, your party can be potentially split up on the flight. So, finally, if you need or want to fly to your destination, don't forget about your travel needs when you arrive. Think about, do you have access to a car from friends or family? Will you use rideshare or will you need to rent a car? And this should all be factored into your budget and be part of the planning. Finally, don't forget to check alternate travel options like trains or public transportation to see if there's a more affordable choice available if you choose not to drive. Now, many people think about booking a hotel when it comes to lodging options. However, that may not be the least expensive option unless you have rewards that come with free stays. So consider using a rental service like Airbnb or VRBO for your next vacation. You may be able to negotiate a cheaper rate directly with the Airbnb or VRBO host if you are booking last minute. A lot of the listings that are on these websites are actually for companies, so not necessarily individuals. And if you can find the company that is providing the listing, you might be able to contact them directly outside of Airbnb and VRBO. Make sure, though, that you understand their terms because you don't necessarily have the protections of Airbnb or VRBO if you book outside of them. But for many providers, they would rather reduce the cost than let the rental stay vacant. So you may be able to negotiate a discount. You might also have the opportunity to save money by traveling with a larger group in these situations. So consider if there's another family that you know who is traveling at the same time that you could share a rental with to split costs. You might also consider camping at a campground. So typically you'll save money if you book a state or national park site, although you will have fewer amenities. Most likely only have electrical hookups. If you prefer more of a glamping experience, you can book a private campground that may come with a pool or a hot tub and full hookups at the site, plus activities for the family. If you find the idea of tent camping unlikely for you, you could consider renting a camper and seeing sites on the way to your destination. So, as I previously mentioned, the more flexible you can be, the more deals you can typically find. Now, another tip that we can use to save money and stick to a budget is by purchasing gift cards. So, if you're in an area and you know you plan to eat at a specific restaurant, you might consider buying a gift card from a discount club like Sam's or BJ's or Costco. They often offer a discount on these cards. For example, you might be able to get a $100 gift card for $80 that can be used at a variety of different restaurants. You can also look into purchasing airline gift cards if you know which airline you're flying on. For example, they often have a $450 price on a $500 Southwest Airlines gift card. So, if you can't find the gift card that you're looking for at your local stores and warehouse clubs, you could also consider looking on gift card resale sites. You can get deals on gift cards for food, hotels, cruises, and rideshare companies. Just make sure if you're going this route that you have a definitive plan for how you are going to use that gift card before you invest in it. Another option to consider is signing up for different loyalty programs. So think about signing up for brands that you typically use. For example, I have a loyalty program with Alamo, and they send me last minute deals on car rentals, airlines for frequent flyer miles, and restaurants to get free add ons like appetizers or desserts, and hotels to earn points for free stays. So even though they're called loyalty programs, I only use them if I'm going to receive more benefits than the cost of the airfare or hotel room. So again, keep in mind that sometimes discounts can lead us to spend more. So consider if it's something you would spend regardless of the discount before you utilize it. So we've covered a lot of different tips, and I hope that a few of them will help you to make the planning of your next vacation cheaper and less stressful. I definitely encourage you to do your research and make sure you'll use the benefit from any money spent and saved. Be careful about where you're looking for your discounts too. If something sounds too good to be true, it probably is, and it's probably best avoided. So now that we've done our research, we set our budget, picked the destination, and found some discounts to get the maximum value from the budget, we're going to talk a little bit about how to protect your money from some of the most common travel pitfalls. So, in case you haven't guessed it, one of the biggest pitfalls that can come up with a vacation is not having a budget. And there's a common saying about how failing to plan is planning to fail. Without a budget, you may find that you spend far more than what you intended to, which can lead to stress. And that's the last thing that you want to experience on your vacation. So, I've already outlined the benefits of creating a budget, and there's no better time to start on your budget than the present. If you would like the help of a certified expert to either go over your budget or help you create one, I definitely recommend giving us a call. It is free and confidential. And that phone number again is in the chat. It's at 877-337-3399. In addition to not creating a budget prior to the trip, not researching can add unnecessary stress to your vacation. So there are some things to consider. Number one, remember that not all travel insurance policies are created equal, and many policies may no longer cover cancellations due to COVID 19. So, if you opt into a policy that doesn't cover your needs, you may find yourself having spent a significant amount of money unnecessarily. So, make sure every dollar you spend is working for you and carefully review the coverage of any policy that you consider. Another great resource for your research may that you may not have considered is vloggers. So many times they're very upfront about hidden gems, what is and isn't worth it, and they often offer discounts to your destination. So take advantage of their free content to avoid spending money on things that aren't worth it for you. Another pitfall to consider is tourist traps. So just because everyone else is spending their money or time on a certain attraction, it doesn't necessarily mean it's worth it. For example, here is Rick Steves' opinion of the Blarney Stone, which is one of the most popular destinations in Ireland. Busloads line up to kiss a stone on the top of a castle rampart and get the gift of gab. The best thing about watching this lame sight is watching a cranky man lower lemming-like tourists over the edge, belly up, and head back to kiss the stone while an automated camera snaps a photo, which will then be available for purchase at the back of the parking lot. After a day of tour groups mindlessly climbing up here to perform this ritual, the stone is slathered with spit and lipstick. Doesn't really sound like the best time to me, personally. Maybe that's your thing, but something to know ahead of time. And now, due to COVID-19 restrictions, actually kissing the Blarney Stone is on pause for the time being. So, this isn't to say that popular spots aren't worth it. For some, this experience is what they'd like to do on their vacation, and they decide to factor it into their travel budget. However, make sure that if you are spending money on a popular attraction, that it has personal value for you. And lastly, it's very important to be aware of popular scams and pickpockets, especially if you are visiting a densely populated area. If something sounds too good to be true, it typically is. So when you are doing your research, it's important to maybe search for scams or see things that are commonly happening in that area. And if you are going to an area where pickpocketing is common, make sure you have a plan to secure your belongings. So, to summarize, make sure that you are researching travel insurance, checking the advice of loggers, being aware of the tourist attractions that are worth it to you, and knowing all the popular scams. So, these are all great ways to avoid spending more money than you intend to on your trip. So, let's talk about a pitfall you might encounter before you even leave. One of the most expensive pitfalls that you can make is spending money before you even get to your destination. So, airports are famously renowned for inflated prices. Just take a look at this chart comparing street prices to airport prices. And keep in mind, this chart is from 2019, so things are probably even worse now. Ideally, you want to try to eat before you go, or maybe pack some snacks for your trip. Many airports nowadays have water bottle filling stations, so you can take an empty water bottle and fill it up once you get past security to cut down the cost. Plan to eat before getting to the airport because airport food typically costs 15% higher than the same place outside of the airport. And places on the street may have a value menu that airports typically don't have. So if you can avoid spending some money on snacks and food at the airport, that will help your budget. Now, in addition to being aware of spending money at the airport, you want to carefully consider how you plan to get to and from the airport, as well as how you'll get around your destination once you arrive. So, while some ride shares may be a cheaper alternative, there's also the possibility that you may be hit by surge pricing and spend more than intended. So, once again, check to see if there are any options to save money at airport parking or to see if you can have a friend or family member that's willing to drop you off at the airport. So maybe you've run the numbers and a no expenses barred vacation just isn't in the cards for you right now. Or perhaps your savings are being prioritized for something different. That is 100% okay. There are plenty of ways to get the rest and relaxation you need without leaving your home base, and some don't even cost anything at all. So, first, consider volunteering around your town. Connecting with your community and giving back can be both an enriching experience as well as a way to get a step back from your everyday routine with the added benefit of costing nothing. See if there's a local food bank near you or check into other charitable institutions. This can be a wonderful opportunity to involve little ones as well and make their summer or vacation just a little bit more exciting than staying around the house. Now, just because you aren't skipping town doesn't mean that you can't have a vacation experience. Many zoos, aquariums, movie theaters, and museums offer cost effective annual passes. So be sure to research carefully to make sure that you're visiting frequently enough to get the maximum value for these passes. Also, make sure to check around local grocery stores and with your insurance carrier to see if there are any discounts being offered. You might also check in with your public library. Nowadays, a lot of them offer free or reduced cost passes that you can borrow to local attractions. Now, another great option to look into is state park passes. Typically, these cost around $20 or less for residents, and depending on the type of pass you could opt for, that can be a wonderful way for you to explore the natural wonders of your state. So many of us spend most of our time in our hometown, but how much of it do we really explore? Many communities offer free tours, and you can find out more than you ever knew about your stomping grounds. So, for instance, my community does weekly ghost tours around town, and I found out that one of my favorite local restaurants is one of the oldest buildings in town. So, check on local Facebook or Nextdoor postings to see what's available around you. You might also find a great source of information in your local chamber of commerce. Also, check to see if there are any local amusement parks near you. Some of these may also have annual passes, so if you're a frequent visitor, this could be an excellent option as well. Now, I already brought up the possibility of camping, but maybe a state park is a bit far away, especially once you factor in the price of gas. You could consider camping in your backyard if you have capacity. This has the added benefit of being able to sneak into the house if the weather gets bad, or if the bugs start coming out in force, or maybe if you just want the comforts of, running water and a toilet. But this can be a great way, especially for kids, to have fun and enjoy the great outdoors without costing too much. So we've covered some service opportunities, annual passes, state park passes, free community tours, amusement parks, and camping as ways to be a tourist in your own town and cut travel costs. For an even more cost-effective option, let's look at bringing the vacation to you. Vacationing doesn't mean that you need to leave home. Sometimes you can just bring the vacation to you. So one fun option is to try a personal film festival. This is especially easy if you have a library card or if you have streaming services, which most of us do nowadays. Consider making a plan with your family or friends to pick a theme and find a few movies that fit that theme, and then spend the weekend watching them. You can make a full event of it by creating themed meals or planning a themed activity to accompany the movies. And of course, don't forget to get some popcorn and snacks. We've also talked a lot about camping already, but if you want to consider going camping somewhere local or in your backyard, this can really have a lot of fun and joy and just let you connect a little bit more with the outdoors. Now, maybe you can't find the room in your budget for a $1,500 flight to Paris, but that doesn't mean you have to stop from enjoying all that France has to offer. So consider bringing your destination to you rather than the other way around. Maybe you want to make yourself a French meal one night, put on some cafe jazz, and bring the Champs Elysees to your dining room. This is a great option as well for kids, as you can start to incorporate some cultural knowledge and start teaching them kitchen skills that will help carry them into adulthood. And you can take this theme around the world with many different countries. Maybe you have a theme night once a month or once a week, and really start to incorporate some different global interests for your family. So, to recap, you want to see how creative you can get to bring the vacation to you rather than the other way around to save money. So, before we wrap up today, I've got one last tip to explore with you. We have focused a lot on the importance of planning ahead, of course. Holidays, birthdays, and other special occasions that involve gift giving are also all excellent opportunities to ask for experience gifts over material gifts. So, if you've already planned out your destination and locations you'd like to visit, maybe asking for a pass to a museum that's at your destination or a gift card to help save money and a restaurant that you plan to visit, that can help you to save money on that aspect of your trip and allow you to splurge out in some other areas of vacation. This is a popular option a lot of times nowadays with engaged couples where they may register for certain experiences or restaurants on their honeymoon rather than registering for physical items in the home. So now that we've covered all of these tips and you're ready to start planning your vacation, GreenPath is here to help. We offer a variety of financial services to help you improve your financial wellness. We provide free and confidential financial assessments to help you plan out your budget as well as understand your credit report and score. We provide housing counseling services, both for those that are renting or homeowners or planning to become homeowners. We provide student loan counseling, especially since student loans are going to be coming due later on in the year. We're here to help you plan for that. And we also provide debt counseling and debt management services. If there is some credit card or unsecured debt that you're dealing with, we can help you talk about options. Again, our goal is to help empower people to lead financially healthy lives, and we recognize that that looks different for everyone. So we really invite you to take advantage of a free customized counseling session to discuss your unique financial situation and goals. So I've got that number up on the screen, that 877-337-3399 if you do want to reach out to us. You can also explore more information about our services at greenpath.com/neighborhood credit union. And I will put that in the chat as well so that you have access to that. One great resource that you have on that website is going to be our Learning Lab Plus. This is an online platform filled with financial courses, everything from utilizing your checking account effectively, planning a budget, understanding your credit report and score, navigating auto buying, planning to buy a home, and lots of other courses. So if you are someone that prefers to learn and explore on your own, these are a wonderful opportunity for you to learn more and increase your knowledge. They're all very short, customized classes, and I think you'd enjoy going through those. So click on the Learning Lab Plus on that website. And now we're going to take some time for questions. If you have a question at all, feel free to pop that into the chat, and I'd be happy to help. Now, Charlotte, I know that you said that you were excited about learning to vacation on a budget. Um, do you
Yes.
do you have any questions from what we talked about today?
I don't have any questions, but I will say this. You have given me some great ideas. One of my favorite is camping out in the backyard because I'm a camping girl. So
Yes.
I've already been camping once this year. So camping out in the backyard is a fantastic idea. I haven't done that yet, but I would love to do that. So I think I am. I have all the equipment. I think I'm going to camp out.
You
I'm
should.
going to
And
invite some more people over, some adults, children. The kids can just run around. Oh, it's going to
yes.
be fantastic.
I love that. Like a lot of these ideas, I think are so great for kids because traveling with children it's
Mhm.
exhausting and it's overwhelming and everyone gets overstimulated. I always think about, parents that do these Disney trips. And while I'd love to do that, at the same time, I know for many kids, something so simple like taking, a blanket and some snacks out
Yes.
in the yard and having a picnic is going to be a better memory in some cases than some of these kind of extravagant over the top trips.
Right,
So
right.
it's something to think about is kind of reframing, what are you thinking of a vacation? It doesn't necessarily have to be elaborate or luxurious, for it to be enjoyable. So that's a great point.
Yeah, that is so true. Okay, I guess there are no questions.
Well, if questions come up, I think you mentioned at the beginning, members can feel free to email and reach out to you. You can get in contact with me. Also, if you have questions about your particular situation, giving our experts a call, they'll be able to help you plan out and think about some of these things. So we invite you to do that.
Okay, so that concludes our webinar today. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you so much. Take
And
care.
if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to email us at communityrelations@myncu.com and we will reach out to you individually. Remember our special offer. If you are not already a member here at Neighborhood Credit Union and you would open up a membership account with us, use promo code webinar and you'll receive a $25 bonus. We will be following up with an email today. for everyone who registered for the webinar. We will include a recording of the webinar, but also a brief survey for you to complete. And we'll also include some good information and tips, that budgeting plan for you. And again, we appreciate all of your feedback, and thank you again for your time today.
Thank you. Bye.
Goodbye, everyone. Have a great day.